Welcome everyone to a Through the Vine webinar. We today we will be talking about how to more effectively monetize your accounts, and also how to not only price yourself, but to also build your brand and reach out to the brands that you love for collaborations. And for those of you who don't know, I am Jabran Malik. I'm the director of marketing Grapevine, and today I am joined by two wonderful and awesome and talented Grapevine creators. Would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Go ahead, Carrie.
I'm Carrie Bernans. I'm an actress, pro athlete, stunt woman, producer, write, I cook, clean. I'm just kidding. But I do a lot of stuff. I speak 6 languages. I was born in the States, been to like 14 countries though. And I live in Los Angeles, California, and I'm an influencer. I worked with over 30, 40 brands probably. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Asdghik, but my easier name is Ashley. It's my American name. I have been a travel blogger for the last 6 years. I've been running it as my full-time business, and I've been traveling all over the world. I've been a nomad for the last 3 years. I've been to over 50 countries, and I love what I do, so I'm excited to be here and share some of these experiences with you guys.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much for hopping on today and for your time. And to those that are listening in, if you have any questions, feel free to type it into the chat if those questions are already answered in the questions we will be talking about today. So, just to get things started, obviously, we got to cover, the basics, right? So many people kind of, once they hit a certain follower account, they think they can kind of, just dive right into collaborating with brands. But, in terms of like thinking about basics, what do you think the kind of first steps that creators should be taking when, building out their kind of list of brands they like to work with? Like what kind of factors should they consider? And, on top of that, how can creators, effectively price themselves, whether they have, 10,000 followers or 50,000 followers? How do you kind of approach that part of the business?
That's a great question. I would say, well, first off, there's 2 different levels of influencers. There are micro influencers that have like the 10,000 followers, and there are macro influencers that usually have like 50,000 plus followers. I'm like somewhere in between, but I also consider myself like a very niche market because of just like TV credibility, and I'm on like TV shows actively seen in theaters and stuff like that. So if I put my name on a brand, it's more than just my following account. You say like, I have this girl from Marvel that supports the brand, and it's just a different level of credibility. I'm not discounting people with the following either way, but what I will say is that there's a lot of brands looking for micro influencers. People rather have 10,000 really faithful followers and people that actively engage with an account to work with their brand that they know can have some touch base moment, and people can actually trust their purchase and make a purchase and do a follow through. And they're also down for macro influencers saying, well, okay, at least like these 100,000 people, if only 10% of them actively go and follow up with the account that they're promoting and stuff like that, then we have some engagement. And plus, like, we have this big influencer that has over 100,000 followers attached to our brand, and it looks good for the brand. So I would say, like, work on just like authenticity to yourself as well as the brand. So when you're partnering up or you're reaching out to brands to figure out what works, first see if they're willing to work with micro influencers if you are a micro influencer. And through those ways, it's like going to look and see like under their tag posts of like other people that may have already collabed with them in the past, or other people that are in their target market or following, and you can reach out and say like how you're a big fan of their product, or sign up through like companies such as Grapevine. And there's other influencer marketing companies out there that offers like free product in exchange for a post and stuff like that. But then on the flip side, and I'll let Ashley take over in a minute too, is like when you do have like 100,000 followers or you have some brand credibility, people do message you. I get like Instagram DMs every day, but I don't take everything that comes my way because I'm really particular about what I put on my page and what I promote to people. I would always say like, I'll try the product, and if I like it myself, maybe I'll promote it, but I can't guarantee like some stuff to promote. So you got to find out like kind of where you are in that range of what you want to do. And if the brand aligns with your vision, and then if they work with your demographic of followers, does it match with their brand? Like if you're a guy targeting like tampons or something, it'll be a little different. Like they're looking for women followers, they're not looking for men, you know, or vice versa, you know. But there is some definite like middle ground that can work. Because I know a lot of girls, for example, that have a lot of following that actually have like men's cologne, like they're marketing to it, because these girls do have an audience full of like, maybe they're like super sexy models and the men are following them, you know, so it works. But you gotta know your target market. I would say like look into your stats and match it with the brand and do the reach out. But Ashley, go ahead. Sorry, that was my long ass answer. I mean,
No, that was
No, that's great.
that was very well put.
For me, I think like when I'm choosing brands that I want to work with, the first thing I consider is relevance. Because, you know, a lot of bloggers, when they're starting out in the beginning, they want to take any brand collaboration they can get. And I think that's a big mistake. You know, I've made that mistake before because I focus mainly on travel and I have a mixed follower base. So you need to know your audience. Like I have about 50% male followers. So if I go and start promoting beauty products or makeup, I'm going to lose the interest of 50% of my followers, you know. So relevance is really important when you're choosing to work with a brand. And as Carrie mentioned, like I always say that I never recommend something that I wouldn't use myself. You know, we get approached so much for brand collaborations, and if it's a product that I don't believe in, even if they're paying me, I'm not going to recommend it to my followers. And that's really important to kind of, you know, make them trust you and know that you would only really recommend products that are great and useful for them, you know?
That's really interesting, and I want to expand on something that you mentioned. So, Ashley, you mentioned that you know, you care a lot about, you know, relevance, and you say that you know, when you're a travel blogger, you can't necessarily you know, post about beauty, or else you'll end up losing half of your followers, right? And so, at what stage do you think? Because I know you know, creators such as you guys are like so multi-talented and have so many different kinds of interests. How, at what stage do you decide like I'm going to be like this certain type of blogger?
That's a great question, because that was the most confusing part for me when I started out, because I love travel and I love different types of experiences. So I was all over the place when I started, you know, posting a picture here, a picture there. And I think it's really important to kind of pick a niche that really appeals to you and who you are. So for me, I like adventure travel, but I also like staying in nice places. And I know that's not, you know, that's a weird combination maybe, but that's what I like. So that's what I started focusing on. And that's how I built my followers, because for people who love adventure and affordable luxury travel, they would follow me because there's so many travel bloggers out there. But why would they follow you specifically? Because of who you are and kind of the real experiences that you share with them, you know? So staying true to yourself, I think, is how you would pick that topic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I'll piggyback with what she said. Like I like I like a little bit of everything, but I am also like, I don't want my page all over the place. Also, one thing that remains true for me, like health is like extremely important to me. So like that's also extremely important to most of the people I feel like that follows me, and it should be important to everybody in general, actually. But and then number two is like everyday products that I can use that I think I'm always about how do I like produce a faster workflow, but don't like eliminate steps, and efficiency, that's the word. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I use products that are very efficient. Then I also use, I think that, like Ashley said, remaining true to the values and the core of who you are is going to help you. And because I am in that like multifaceted, like one day I might be doing sunset, and if I like injure myself not like a real crazy injury, but just like I slip and fall too hard and my knee hurts, then I know this like CBD, for example, that product that I'm using on my knee would help me. And that's something I'm willing to refer and use because I've used it before. But on the flip side, like if I don't have a water company, but if I had a water company that delivered me water products, I drink water like every day. Like I'm already going to talk about it because I'm excited and I'm drinking it. And if I can like promote it, and it's a way that I built that brand awareness of something that I actually use, then it just has hand in hand. But on the flip side, although like just similar to Ashley, like I would say maybe about like 54% of my followers are male. Like
Mm-hmm.
I will promote something that may only be targeted to females at some moments if it has some really good values or missions behind it. Like I know this sounds weird because I mentioned about periods and tampons earlier, which I know people are probably screaming on the call. But I mean, if a tampon company came to me, like I use tampons, so I would be like, heck yeah, if they want me to promote it, all my ladies followers, that's probably what the beginning of my caption is. Listen up, men, get it for your women. You know they need this. Like, that's how I would probably target it. Like, I know you know a woman that could use this, guys. So blah, blah, blah. If I feel like it's that type of product.
Mm-hmm. So that's
I
actually
think,
really, oh, sorry, go on.
sorry. I think it's also important, like how you position that collaboration. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I do non-travel related collaborations. I do them a lot, actually, but I always position them in a way like this is how you could use it on your adventure, So it could be just a simple snack or something like that. But I say like, oh, I always have this in my carry-on or when I'm hiking, So it's kind of how you position it to your audience.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. And there's kind of like a kernel I wanted to also expand on, in terms of, when you're posting a collaboration, social media platforms, Instagram too, they're getting a lot more kind of sophisticated, especially with regards to being able to make direct purchases right from a link that you post, whether it be a swipe up, a link in bio, or even they're probably end up going to be able to do like in-feed purchases as well. When you are promoting a product and there are specific, like maybe it's like maybe a brand has more goals beyond just like views or likes, right? How do you kind of create effective calls to action to ensure that your audience takes action on your post or collaboration?
That's a great question. So, okay, I will say like 95% of my promotions are like straight paid, not affiliate marketing. Like I'm doing affiliate marketing right now with you all with the CBD company because I really love the products and I'm just like, I need the products and I actually don't want to go out and spend like $300 on CBD products personally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like in quarantine, but I was like, I'm working out, my body aches, I can use this. I'm proof that it works, bam. But what I would say is like, number one, because I do think videos, like sometimes people they're like, oh, I only want to pay for a photo or a video. I'll come up with a special package that I think would help the brand because I do believe in the product. I want to promote it the best way I can. So I will say, let's do this. I'll do 4 Instagram posts because I know people are not only going to look at just that picture you post on Instagram, they're going to look at it today. They're not going to go back and look at it unless it's new followers that come on your page or whatever. Then it needs to be spread out. And also it needs to be a video. Testimonial videos does help people. If you talk about how you love the product or how you use it, people then imagine themselves using it. So I do take that into consideration when I'm promoting a product or I'm advertising for some type of, like this movie's coming in theaters or something, like I saw it, y'all, it was so freaking good, blah, 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 blah. And it's all true, honest facts. And if I'm also talking on video, I'm not saying that people, I don't lie, like not like lie, you know what I mean? Like I might joke with a friend or whatever, but if it's about a product, yeah, like I think video to me is the best way, or writing out a really long response. Because if you write something really long, people are gonna be like, dang, this girl's either mad or super passionate. At least for me and my followers, they know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for me, like when I work with brands, it depends on the product that you're trying to promote. Like for example, if I am doing a hotel collaboration in a certain destination and I post that post, it doesn't mean that people or my followers are gonna immediately book that hotel because they first have to plan a trip there, you know. But the most important thing is how you kind of represent that brand for people to say, okay, I'm going to save this. And even if they don't buy that product or that service immediately, it's how you position it that would make them save it and say, okay, when I go to, let's say, I don't know, Mexico, I want to stay in this hotel because I really liked how she, you know, her experience there, you know. So even if it doesn't lead, and I always say this to some brands, I mean, with smaller products, it's different, that things you can purchase online is more direct. But sometimes in a lot of cases, I explain to brands, like, you're not going to immediately get direct sales, like thousands of sales, just because, you know, we're posting about it, because people might buy in a month or two just because they saw it in our feed, you know?
Yeah, I had that experience recently with a vegan vitamin called that I use. I don't actually mention the name, but I'm about to do another like collaboration with them. But I mean, I think like they didn't have a first purchase from like, okay, I think they did have a first purchase from somebody that followed me within like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so. But then after that, they didn't really have a lot of purchases. But then people started getting on the whole vegan trend. This happened maybe a year ago when I started promoting it. And then everybody was just like looking for vegan vitamins. And then when I went through my vegan phase, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going vegan. And they're like, oh my God, what are you eating? What are you using? Oh, I'm using this. And then like, I haven't even promoted for this brand in a while, but I still had a link to them. I was like, yeah, here is the thing. Go purchase some vitamins. And they started getting new like active people that's using it. So I think it's just all like relative depending on like, shoot, everybody's going to need, when they start back working out, going to the gym, if they're not already working out at home, they're gonna need like, you know, CBD stuff. So it works now or works later. Or traveling, like, girl, I'm about to look up all those hotels. Like, I love traveling when I'm not working. So,
if you hang out with me a lot, you'll book a flight immediately.
So it seems to me that, you know, in order to drive, you know, actual purchases, right, it's all about ensuring, it's all about, you know, making sure that your audience knows that this is, you know, that you're a subject matter expert on this, and B, that, you know, this isn't just like a one-off, right? It is a multi-stage like collaboration. Like, this is like product that I ardently believe in, and if you're a fan of my work, then you should be able to, you should trust and purchase this product, you know, if you want to sort of in any way emulate my lifestyle, right? And so when you are trying to, you know, impress upon brands, like, hey, like, if you really want to create an impact, it's not just this one-off post. How can you sort of position yourself to, you know, satisfy brands with that first post to ensure that the brands come back and be like, hey, we want to post more with you. We want to continue this relationship. How do you position yourself like that?
yeah.
Oh,
And
sorry, go for it.
I was gonna say there's two things. So before I answer your question, like if brands want immediate purchase on something, they should do like this is a 3-day deal, like they do on TV. Like, it's a 3-day deal. It's gonna be 50% off or 25% off the purchase price. Like, you guys, like, I'm telling you, purchase it now, blah, blah, blah. And that's a one-off deal. Then you immediately got people that's gonna go there and purchase it, or you're gonna have people that be like, I don't got the money right now. But for some reason, it does present a sense of urgency and a sense of like they might lose out. And this is a really great deal, especially if it has somebody's name attached to it. Now, do I highly recommend it? I don't know, honestly. But can you repeat your question, and then I'll let you go, Ashley, first. But I just wanted to say that because I thought it was really important.
No, that's actually super important. And thank you for that insight. Basically what I was asking, you know, when brands kind of push back and say, hey, like, there weren't enough, like, you didn't drive any sales, you know, from this post, how do you kind of push back, and what kind of metrics do you rely on to say, like, hey, turns out that, you know, that's not how this kind of promotion should work, right? You actually need multiple posts in order to start generating that revenue for this product. What would you say to, like, how do you kind of push back on brands and try to guarantee that instead of being a one-off post, that relationship with the brand actually goes across multiple posts and videos and different things like that?
So what I do if that happens, first of all, I offer them a little bit of extra content. Like it could
Hmm.
just be, for example, Instagram stories with a swipe up link. Maybe that's not included in our deal, but I can just throw it in there just to see if, you know, I get a better response on the product, and test out little things, and tell them, listen, like if we do a 360-degree campaign, like post on Instagram, a review on my blog, or you know, a tweet or a share on Pinterest, you know, I suggest like a more like 360-degree campaign for them
Hmm.
that could benefit them more. And another thing that I want to say about this topic, I think for brands that are working with influencers, it's not only about making sales, it's also we are creating content for them, and content is very valuable. So if when a brand is working with an influencer, yes, they're paying them and they want to get sales, and that is extremely important, but they are also paying for content. Even if that follower has, sorry, influencer has 5,000 followers or 100,000 followers, doesn't matter. They are paying you for that content, because if they were to create that same content with, I don't know, a photographer or photo shoot or something, it's going to cost them thousands of dollars. And that is part of what they are paying for as well. So it's not just about like directly making sales, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree with Ashley. I wish I can call you your real name because I want to say Ashley.
Asdghik.
Okay. Um, not your real name. You know what I mean, girl. But I agree that I just want to piggyback what she said. Like, the brand should understand, yeah, they are paying for that content, and that content can be used. Now, I am really particular about how long my content is used on someone's site, or how long they promote me from like being a part of that brand, depending on like, I do usage because I'm in TV and film where usage is matters. That's how we make residuals and money, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And branding and a face on a name and a brand can go really far, especially that person blows up and become the next Kobe. I don't know, Kobe, but I'm just saying because Kobe is really, really far reach. But you get my
Hmm.
point. So I would say this: like if the follow throughs with the brand didn't go as planned, then you know you look at the metrics and you say, well, this number of people interacted with your website, this number of people interacted here. I would look at all the stats from the post that went up and just do a more in-depth review. And then I would just like suggest that we can either, like Ashley said, I might throw in an Instagram story and just see like, let's see how many people go here and where their click-throughs at. And do you have like Google Analytics that shows like once they go here, they clicked here. So was it the price that bothered them? Like what exactly was the thing that kind of threw them off? Because sometimes the price point is too high for some people's taste, you know, and it could be many things, or it could be like she's promoting hotels. I don't really
Right.
promote travel per se. I would say maybe it could be like they're not traveling right now.
Hmm.
So, you know, um, but those are my initial things I would look at.
Mhm. So what I'm hearing is that, it's the relationship between a creator and a brand should really be going, halfway. It's not just about, that post, but also brands should also be making sure that their back end is all set up for your
Right.
post, right? If you're making a post for them, they should be creating the right tags on Google Analytics, and they should be able to set up those metrics so that they can better measure the effectiveness of
I,
your post.
I can tell you something that's happened to me quite a few times
Hmm.
actually. Like some brands have offered me like a special discount code for like 20% off if they use my discount code. And I go log into their website and I see that they're already offering the 20% off if you sign up for their emails. So
Hmm.
I'm like, who's going to use my discount code? That you're not giving anything special to, my followers. So why would they use my discount code? And they start wondering why no one's using it, because, they're already offering it to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the back end is very important for
Hmm.
sure.
And it's making sure that also I'm seeing that it's like making sure that the opportunity with you is unique, and
Right,
and positioning it as a reward for your followers, like
right.
thank you for so much for following me, like here's a gift to you all, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is an exclusive opportunity. That's super interesting. And I know you mentioned packages earlier in terms of the different amounts of posts and pricing. How do you go about pricing yourself? What metrics do you rely on, and how does that change, based on the amount of followers you have?
So I get asked this question so much because people are very confused about what to charge in the influencer world. And it's kind of sad that, you know, influencers have been around for so many years and we still don't, like, sometimes people don't get paid fairly because there's no price, like no real price lists, you know. I think personally, from my research and my experience, for every 10,000 followers, I would say the range is between like $80 to $120 per post. Like, on average. So if you have 100,000, that would make it between $800 to $1,200 per post on Instagram. You know, that's what I kind of recommend. But it also depends on the content that you're producing. You know, if you have to, I don't know, go on a trip for 3 days to produce the content, then no, you would charge more than that. But if it's just a product placement somewhere that you can do a photo shoot anywhere, then that's, you know, a different kind of price. So it all depends on what the campaign really is. But for me, like the way I work with brands, I have my normal price list and I have different packages. So I have like a gold package, silver package, platinum package. So, and each one of them includes different things in there and it's bundled up with a big discount. So if you go for like the platinum package, which is the most expensive one, you have posts all over my channels, you know, over, I don't know, 3 months, let's say, you know what I mean? So I make sure I like selling the bundle deals because it's better for them and it's better for me, you know?
Yeah, that's a great thing. So I would say I was using Social Blue Book originally when I think I first started, and they had a online like calculation of what they felt like compared to the number of likes you had, views on videos, and following. They somehow came up with a calculation and say your posts are worth this amount. So that's what we originally had, and we took that, my team took that, and then we added what we felt was necessary for like the time it would take to make the post, and kind of similar to what Ashley's saying, like if it's going to be here, like in my house, is it going to take me 2 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour? Am I studying to do some video for Universal Music that I have to like come up with something to say behind? Or and then we also talked about like credibility. The thing is, like, for me, I don't want to put my name on everything because it's tied to Ultimate Tag Fox, it's tied to Marvel's Black Panther, it's tied to all these things. And people like to say those words, especially when they say, oh yeah, the girl from Black Panther did this ad, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm not going to do no ad for $200, $300 and them just saying my name everywhere, because then people are going to come back to me and be like, did you do this? Or how much you got paid for that? They should have paid you a pretty penny or whatever, you know. People say those things. So we come up with a relative price that we use Social Blue Book, and then we inflate the price a bit depending on how long it will take to post, and also the product it is, and also how big the company is. I will say that I do have a, you know, special place in my heart for small businesses, because I know how hard it is to actually get stuff up in brick and mortar. And if I really, really like the product, I might charge them half the price I usually charge someone else. But I also require them to like give me like enough product that translates into whatever that additional price would be. So, and if I'm doing affiliate marketing, which I don't often do, but if I do, then I need like minimum whatever my number would be to like pitch the brand that cost, I need that in product. So, and I need that in product like every month I'm doing it. I don't care if I use all the product that month or not, but to me, then that's a fair, like, fair exchange for the post and me to promote it. Because like everything is about money, and if it's not money, then it's product, and product better transfer into like actual money or something that's going to help me grow, lift me. I don't care. Like, that's me.
Right.
But yeah.
I just wanted to add to that. I think also pricing depends on the quality of your content. So let's say I know some influencers who have hundreds and thousands of followers who get paid less than someone who has maybe 20,000 followers, especially like I can give an example from the travel industry. If someone has 20,000 followers, but he's this amazing photographer, and a tourism board is looking to pay 10 bloggers to go on this trip and they need amazing photography, they would rather get that guy who has 20,000 followers than someone who has maybe 1 million followers, but doesn't have that
Mhm.
type of content that they're looking for. So content is always king in the influencer world. And people kind of forget that, and they say, okay, based on the number of followers, how much should I charge? But it's not just about followers. It's also
Mhm.
about how good your content is, you know?
Mhm. Right, and it's about, not only is it about quality, but it's also like how engaging that content is
Right.
too, right? There's a big difference between having 50,000 followers, where let's say like 60% of your fans engage with your content, as opposed to like having 1 million followers and only like a couple reply guys comment on your posts all the time. Now that's super interesting in terms of pricing. Now, getting it, I guess, into slightly a little bit more woke territory. Do you find that being female creators, do you find that sometimes brands will lowball you on offers sometimes?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. I will say that I think since I've been in the entertainment industry, I mean, like for on and off for like 8 years, but full time, like working and making money for like the last 4 years. And that's why we have agents and managers, because like people will lowball you on TV sets, movies, this, that, and the next. They'll pay one person this amount, the other person this amount. And it's honestly depending on how the power of your negotiation, your team. I got a whole team. My team take percentage of almost everything I make. Now it's not a crazy amount of percentage, but they do work their butts off, and I give it to them, So if I take something, for exchange only or whatever, they're not getting paid behind it, but I still have them 75% of the time get into that conversation, because I want to
Mhm.
take it off my plate so people don't think they're lowballing me. They're talking to someone that represents me, first off. And they also
Mhm.
have a standard for me and what they want me to do or not. And they also have an idea of what my branding looks like, if something is for good for me or not for me. So that's kind of my take on that. I would say like that's why we strive to not be lowballed. We also sometimes put out fillers. They put out fillers for their other clients that may have a better following than I do, to see what would they be paid, to come up with the translation to make sure they ain't playing with me. But yeah.
Heck yeah.
I think in the influencer world, like personally haven't felt like I've been lowballed because I'm female.
Mhm.
I don't feel that at all, actually, in the influencer world. So for me, it's all about your negotiation, like Carrie was saying, and how you position yourself in that negotiation.
Mhm.
I felt like whenever someone else is negotiating on your behalf, it's always much better, and you get a much better deal than if you're doing it yourself, because it's all
Mhm.
about perception, and
Right.
how that brand perceives you in that negotiation, you know.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I know people in the past that, I'm not trying to get people's secrets out here, but they would create like an assistant email address, so then all their stuff goes to that account, and then they would answer on behalf of their quote unquote assistant, like just to like bridge that like layer of communication. So there is a standard, like, Ashley and I have been mentioning, that people understand, like, we run a company. This is a business. We are trying to survive, thrive, and grow. We do
Mhm.
understand, like, we have something that you want, and you have something that we want. Let's make it work.
Mhm.
Actually, Carrie is mentioning a very good point there, because I think we as influencers are very frustrated sometimes, because like brands approach us and say, we want to give you a free service or product, but it's never free, because you're actually asking us to do a lot of work for
Right.
this. So it's not free, it's a business deal. We're offering you something and you're offering us something back, and I think
Right.
that's really important to remember in negotiations.
Right. And there's like there's so much production that goes in post, right? Even if it's just
Yeah.
an image, right? You can't just like, throw something on an iPhone photo, right? And then just post it. It's like there's a whole like, there's like a whole production behind it. And so, when you're in that negotiation phase, how do you know when to say, absolutely, this sorry, like, thanks for talking, but this is not for me.
Oh yeah,
I
I'm
know.
sorry. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I know from the first email, actually. I know from the beginning. I mean, it took years of experience to know, but sometimes you can tell if somebody is just trying to get like a very cheap deal and doesn't care about anything else. And I can tell from the start, and I let it go. You know, I'm very professional when I say no. I don't, you know, get angry or anything, but you can tell from the beginning how a brand wants to treat you, you know?
Yeah, and I think for me, if like, I like the initial email and them introducing themselves, etc. But if the price is not like right, or the brand is just not, I mean, if the price is there, and for example, there's this company right now that just recently approached me, and they have a app that's very similar to TikTok, and they want me to advertise on it. They want me to post some videos, and they're gonna pay me for that. I'm down with it. And then they also want me to put it on my Instagram. And I'm like, okay, it's like similar to TikTok. I can tell everybody it's similar to TikTok. Go to this app, and I'm down with it. But I also like my team is very strict with them. Like, they tried to offer me some lowball price, and I was just like, no, we're good. But this is our price. We're interested in working with you. We can do it this week, and we let them know a sense of urgency. Like, but if you're not interested, it's totally okay. Like, and I think for a person to hear that.
Sorry, I think I can't hear you guys anymore. Give me 1 second. Let me hop back on this. Hold on.
No problem. I can hear you, Carrie.
Oh yeah, cool. Well, I'll talk. No, but I mean, if the price isn't like, if the price isn't right, like, I honestly have so much I can be doing, and it's not that I don't want to work with the brand. I want to work with the brands that I think is the best for me. But I'm not going to like lowball myself, because by me lowballing myself and setting a standard that I'm willing to take X, Y, and Z, it sets it up for the next influencer that comes along that may look like me, is like me. That's what happened in Hollywood. All the women, I mean, not all the women. There was some women that was like, well, they really just wanted to work and get that exposure. So they were willing to take, you know, a piece of the pie, although the guy was getting the whole pie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, well, at least I got a piece of pie. I can just start working. So they were willing to settle with measly amounts of whatever, and wasn't setting a standard. And to me, you have to set a standard if you're going to have someone respect you, willing to pay you, also rely on your credibility, and that you're going to give them quality work. It's a business. But a fun business.
Power to that.
I can give some advice. Like, if someone is just starting off, it's a little bit different than someone who's been doing this for a while. You know, when you're just starting off, you can you want to build your portfolio, right? You want to show other brands that I've worked with brands already. So it's okay in the beginning to kind of take a couple of campaigns that might not pay you as much as you want, just to kind of build yourself, but you have to put a stop to that once you establish yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I've had so many cases, like Carrie was saying, like, I've been on blogger trips, travel blogger trips, and, you know, I get paid for those trips. And I've met the other bloggers in the destination, and they find out that I'm getting paid for it and they're not. And they just took the free trip. You know what I mean? And they have similar following and great content and everything, you know, so they should have been paid for it, but they didn't know that they should charge for something like that.
And you know what? I'm going to piggyback with what you said. The problem is that a lot of people are scared. And I mean, at the beginning, I do believe, like, yes, 100% you do take some brands that are going to pay a little low, or just like take some that might just do a free exchange, because first off, you're creating content on your page. You're inviting like other brands to know that you are an influencer and that you're willing to like market their stuff on your page, and this is type of stuff that you like to market. But you only do that for so long. It's like you get your feet wet, get your experience, like an internship, and then you start working entry level, then you become the big ball player that's the CEO of the company, rocking and rolling. But on the flip side too, like, people are afraid. They're like, well, they're giving me a free trip. This trip is worth $1,000 or $500, or it's in, I don't know, X, Y, and Z, but see what else you can get on top of that. Be like, you gotta not be afraid to ask. And I think people are afraid to ask because they think they're gonna lose the deal. And if they lose the deal, they just gotta have big enough faith that a bigger opportunity is gonna come along, and that one just got out of the way so the bigger one can come through. But it is the mindset.
Great advice.
Great advice, for sure.
You should never be afraid to lose the deal. I think that's the most important part, you know?
Right. And you have to sort of not only establish credibility, but you also have to, you know, not be afraid to advocate for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really about like knowing your worth. Gosh, there are like so many like millions of questions that I want to ask, but I know we're running up short on time. I guess I guess to cap it off, what's like what would you say is like one actionable piece of advice that you think all influencers, no matter sort of how established they are, should be taking?
One.
Some actionable, oh, there's so much advice, it's hard to kind of
I
summarize
know, right?
it. So I think like staying true to yourself and always sharing content that you actually enjoy, because once you start going off that path and just trying to do everything, you kind of lose touch of why people are following you. So stay true to yourself and always um, recommend things that you would really use. Don't just chase the money. I think a lot of biggest mistakes that people do is they chase the money, and it's not all about money, because these are real people following you. So you need to kind of build that trust and keep that trust.
Yeah, and I think like to piggyback with what Ashley said, I think the biggest thing influencers can do is just continue to be credible, continue to be like trustworthy, continue to be authentically you, because ultimately like that's who people fall in love with. And in order for them to like a brand, they have to like connect with you in some way. So I don't know. I mean, I will be really, really honest. Like, I didn't put up videos of myself, like, saying things or speaking. Like, I spoke at a protest, for example. I posted the video, but that's not something I would usually share on my Instagram. And the reason why is because, like, people see me on TV and they have this perceived image, or they see me on this show, or my name is tied to this. And I didn't want, like, how Carrie personally views the world to then be tied to all of these brands. But then I was just like, what the fuck, like people know like who I am, and they need to know like what I stand for. And ever since I've been doing that, it's been more likes, more followers, more views on videos, people asking me more questions. The people that don't like me, they dropped off. The people that did, they just kept coming on, and they brought their friends along too. And people fall in love with you. And I think that's how I originally, before Instagram was even a thing, I deleted my account. I remember I had close to 100,000 followers. I was in college. It was like the prime. It was the follow days. Like, let's shout out each other on Instagram days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I used to do, all types of funny stuff. That's what worked. So I think just like be you, think about the products you use on a daily basis, make a list of those, and then see what smaller micro brands, and then see what bigger brands have it. Reach out, take the faith, and see if they're interested in partnering up with you. If not, then just keep working at it. Somebody eventually latch on. Trust me, like you're uniquely you. Nobody else can be that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Be authentic, and haters gotta hate.
Yeah.
So I want to get to a couple questions before we end our time. So we're getting some technical questions here. So we got from Galaxy S7 wants to know what do you guys think of technology like drone or a nice camera? How can that help you get a deal with brands? Like, what stuff do you use to shoot?
Well, I always say, like people say, you never pack light, because my carry-on is full of all my stuff, all my equipment that I shoot with. I think it's super important because, like I said, it's not just posting a photo on Instagram, you're selling content and people are paying you for this content. So that is so important. I have a whole bunch of equipment, like my different cameras, my GoPro, and like I'm telling you, a whole carry-on. And the way I shoot my content is I shoot my own content because I do a lot of solo travel. So I have a tripod and the whole gear that, travels with me. And definitely, I'm reading the question now. I think having a drone is definitely beneficial, especially when it comes to travel, because a lot of times I do brand collaborations. They ask me, okay, we want, I don't know, 4 Instagram posts, 1 blog post, plus we want 10 photos for our own use. And they pay a lot of money for that, because those photos, like if someone else, like a photographer was going to do it, they were going to charge thousands and thousands. So I'm already going on the trip, and I can offer them so much value by having that good equipment like a camera and drone, and selling that content on top of my collaboration on social media,
Yeah, and I also believe technology is really important. I also think it just depends on who you are. Like, what's your page like? What's your brand? Because I would say like drones are really great for like overview shots in the air. Like if I want to show where I'm at and then I want to just like video me as I'm walking and I'm exploring something new. Like if I was traveling, I would totally have a drone. I mean, like I have a drone on my way now in the mail, but it's only because I'm trying to get my drone license and I think they're so freaking cool. But I use my iPhone 11 Plus. It has an amazing camera. I can shoot in 4K. I honestly think that a really solid, great phone camera is like essential. It's like number one thing that you definitely need. And then I would say like a really nice like actual camera quality, which Ashley would tell you the best cameras to get. I mean, I have like one Sony.
I have a whole post about it on my blog, so you can read it, guys.
Yeah, go read that. That's what I would say. But I think
I'll definitely send that as a follow-up to all the attendees, that blog post. We got another question incoming from Natalie Negrodi. Hey, Natalie. So she's asking, I lost a lot of brand deals during COVID-19. What advice do you give to influencers trying to get back those deals that they might have lost?
Well, I can speak for myself. I'm a travel blogger, so you can imagine what happened. I can't travel, and all the travel companies are, in a bad situation right now. So I have to say it was a very tough time for all travel bloggers around the world. And for me specifically, what I did was, apart from being a little bit down for a few weeks, I said, okay, I need to reevaluate my strategy and kind of see what kind of content would work better in this phase. So I started expanding more into lifestyle content, which I never used to do before. So I started, writing about like how to work remotely, or sharing some of my grandma's recipes or things like that on my blog that I would never do if I was traveling. So, and it actually really appealed to my audience. So now I can start looking for brands that I wouldn't have collaborated with before, but now that would fit into my new strategy. So that's the advice I can give you.
yeah, that was my advice. I was going to say is like reevaluate how you can promote the brand. Like, although like, for example, we can't travel right now, and if you're a travel blogger like Ashley, then I would say the same, like, but you can plan like, hey guys, I know we're all in quarantine right now, but let's plan a dream vacation. Let's dream a little bit, create our vision board. Like, these are some of the products I would put on my vision board if I was moving and traveling. Or like, now make it COVID friendly. Like, did you know this hotel is like, the new travel regulations are this, or the new things are this. Or if you're at home and you're blogging, you lost some brand deals because like, brands are running low on business, maybe consider reevaluating the brand and saying like, no, we can make it COVID friendly. Like, have you guys thought about this? Well, don't say the word no, but I'm just like, you have to come up with new ways to make it more fun and just like relatable.
I think it's important to know that as influencers, we are entrepreneurs, and to be successful as an entrepreneur, you need to be ready for very uncertain situations like COVID-19. I mean, no one expected it to be like this, but whenever something like this happens next year, it could be something else, you need to be ready and kind of reevaluate your whole strategy and change your plans. You need to adjust to the new reality.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Awesome.
I'm going to just say like, adaptability is the biggest thing you can do in life, and figuring out that, because no point of life will ever be constantly the same exact thing. And the more that you can do that now, the better you're going to get at it and go to come. So yeah, and no problem, Natalie.
Cool. We have time for just one more quick question. If anyone has any. All right. So guys, so thank you so much for your time today. I guess, just as one last quick thing, do you guys have anything that you want to plug? And B, how can people get in touch with you if they want to?
I think Instagram would be great. Just DM us or email as well. So everything is on my Instagram account. So reach out any way you want, and I'm always there.
And what's your Instagram?
The Jet Setter Diaries.
Cool. And I would say for me, I I have a TV show that's on air right now called The Ultimate Tag. It's on Fox. I play the character called the Banshee. I'm total opposite of how I am today. You know, I'm really scary on the show. The next 4 episodes are probably going to be really creepy of me, but I highly suggest you to watch it. If you don't want to watch it on Fox on Wednesdays, it comes on at 9/8 Central or 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can watch it on Hulu anytime you want. And I will also say you can get in contact with me via Instagram, which is my name, Carrie, Carrie, Bernans, Bernans. Also carriebernans.com. And I'm looking forward to helping you, seeing you guys grow. Any brands watching, let's talk. And thank you guys. Y'all stay safe and be well.
Thank you so much, guys. And once again, this entire panel was recorded, so it'll be up on our YouTube channel. If you missed the beginning of this, or there's any piece of advice that you just want to just want to listen to and reflect on, you can also follow us at grapevine.logic on Instagram, and we're also at Grapevine Logic on Twitter. We are also on Facebook. And if you have any kind of questions surrounding Grapevine, you can just email me at Jibran, Jibran, at grapevinelogic.com. Hope to see you guys all soon. Ashley, Carrie, thank you so much. It was wonderful talking to you guys. Hope we can talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Take care.